The following podcast is brought to you by Pro Wrestling Connect, Australia's newest choice for event management and brand development specializing in pro wrestling.
And now, the B Plus Wrestling Podcast. Watch global. Support local. It's the B Plus Wrestling Podcast.
The moves.
B plus.
Check it out! Here we go! You wanna mess with us? 'Cause we're standing on the ground.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen out there in the B Plus land. It is me, it is I, the one they call Mr. Mysterious, and welcome to the Impact Zone. I apologize for my voice in advance, guys. It's been a very hectic week in the land of Australian professional wrestling. We just had Supernova come through Sydney and WA, and of course, coming with that, the Australasian Wrestling Federation did their stuff. It was a magnificent time. Conventions really take it out of everybody, including myself, so that is why I sound god-awful, but I'm going to persevere, because you know why? This is the Impact Zone, and we have one more week until Slammiversary, and we've got our Impact Wrestling's Impact Plus exclusive events coming up. You got Bash at the Brewery, you got the Booker T collaboration event, and then you have Slammiversary. So we've got to enjoy these impacts while we can. And the story is being quickly developed, like everything's starting to make more sense. I'm excited. I'm really looking forward to what happens in the Land of Impact moving forward. So without further ado, guys, let's go into the opening match. The North, Ethan Page and Josh Alexander versus the Deaners. Giver. This was your pretty standard opening match. You could tell that, because these are always pre-tapes, that the North were a little bit worse for wear after their match against RVD and Sabu. Josh Alexander, he had a couple of nicks on him, like in the center of his forehead and like on the bridge of his nose. So they hadn't quickly healed yet. So halfway through this match, there was a bit of blood. And it only made him look even more like a killer. Like Josh Alexander, welcome addition back to Impact Wrestling these past few months, and he's given Ethan Page a real sense of purpose. I really appreciate, like, Ethan Page, he's got the all ego, like, bravado asshole thing on lock, but Josh Alexander really does inspire him to just be serious and to get shit done. And that is a very welcome thing with Ethan Page, because for the longest time, he's been all talk and no action. And now, accompanied by Josh Alexander, he can do it all. Like, he has confidence in himself, and why wouldn't he? Now, this is a very good dynamic match. Like, both teams, they had their bigger men in Alexander and Cousin Jake, and your more experienced guys, Ethan Page and Cody Deaner. But you had Cody took Page over the top ropes of the floor with a clothesline. Jake held the ropes open. Like, we had some suicide dives. A shocker, I know. But you got to get used to them in Impact Wrestling, because WWE, they've kind of limited them these past few weeks with their whole rule, but I won't get into that here. You had Josh Alexander hit Jake with the running crossbody from behind to regain some momentum. The North hit their unique double team DDT. They've got a few solid tag team moves. They're slowly integrating more and more. It's very subtle, but you can really appreciate what they're doing, and it's proving that the North should be a legitimate threat in the tag team division, especially because Bash at the Brewery next week, they're going to be facing off against LAX for the tag titles. Probably not going to win, because the whole Slammiversary, they're not going to change the card on the fly, but you know what? I still appreciate it. Like, who knows? Maybe if they did win, it would be a nice little triple threat tag team match, but it's neither here nor there. So after that, you had Cody connected with a top rope splash on Alexander for a very close 2 count, and surprisingly clean. Like, there wasn't really much underhanded tactics by the North. It was just overpowering, solid wrestling. The North hit their double team clash. Like, that's their big finishing tag team move to put Cody Deaner away. The winners, the North, and looking quite impressive, if I may say so. These guys really crushed it, and a very great start to Impact moving forward here. So afterwards, guys, backstage, you have Taya Valkyrie is visiting Rosemary once again in her lair, in her locker room. It's purple, ladies and gentlemen, it's purple. But she's discussing how she's not prepared for the Monsters Ball, and rightfully so. She's the only one who this environment is not accustomed to. And even commentary, like they're actually saying, like, yeah, Taya's not gonna keep the title. They have no faith in her. Like she could probably sneak out at some point with it, just somehow keep the advantage while the monsters, quote unquote, fight each other. But I don't know. Very thin odds, and I won't give my predictions just yet because we had some more Impact Wrestling to talk about next week. But so yeah, Rosemary and Taya are talking, and remember Taya last week? She promised that she'd give Rosemary a title opportunity if Rosemary looked after her, and it doesn't matter that they're already in a title match. Rosemary could probably just say like, "Screw you, I've got what I wanted." But Rosemary, the Hive is being generous. The Hive is being generous in talking to Taya and saying like, you know what, you made it a deal with the devil, and just I love their banter. They have some very good banter. Taya and Rosemary just, I think they last week they were just trying to find how to make it click, and they really found the right balance between Taya just being the high school kind of bully character, and Rosemary just she has the crazy multiple personalities a little bit, but she can just be like deadpan and just like match Taya with her sarcasm. Very funny times, and not happy about this, but I need to address it. We have the return of Rolando Menendez, investigative reporter. I thought he had gone for a while, but he's back. That bloody asshole is back. But he wasn't a big focal point as he has been these past. It's been about a good month, I think, since we've seen Menendez, and even then, before that, he wasn't displayed nearly as much. So he's only in this episode a couple times, so he's tolerable for me. But I can't get behind him. I just can't. He's a nuisance. He doesn't give any breaking scoops. It's not news or yeah. He's not an investigative reporter. He's just a nuisance in my eyes, personally. But he's back, and he's talking to Dr. Ariel about Brian Cage, who, let me be clear, looks like the worst kind of doctor that they could have ever had, like the worst actor to portray a doctor, because he needs to do one thing: emote, act. He's just completely deadpan. He's not even serious. He's not even serious in the way like he's just like he's reading from a script off screen, all the way like outside of camera view. Just like Brian Cage still hasn't been cleared to compete. Yes, he appeared last week on the tapings, but I'm going to make it my mission to make sure that Brian Cage does not appear at Slammiversary. And Menendez like, you heard it here, folks. Menendez out. And it's just, I thought we were done with this. Like, we could have just gone away from this doctor angle entirely. The fact that Brian Cage is back, but they need to fill just a little bit more screen time. And if the ending of Impact was anything to go by, yeah, they can't really keep this up much longer. So Matthews and Don Callis discuss how Brian Cage's doctor, apparently still not medically cleared to compete, and how this is going to affect the title match. Brian Cage will probably do it in spite of himself because he's the machine. God damn it. In addition to that, they showed a clip. So we didn't have Moose and RVD this week. But they did show a clip from a recent House of Hardcore event that Tommy Dreamer was in. So whether this was the one after, this was the couple of House of Hardcore events that they had. So I believe this is the one after and that you can't miss, which would probably make sense. But during the match, Moose came in and attacked Tommy Dreamer, and Matthew says this has crossed the personal line. Yes, it's so personal. What Dreamer, and wonders what Dreamer plans to do about it. So whether we see Tommy Dreamer again face Moose in the last Impact before Slammiversary, I don't know. I was thinking that they'd have Sandman faced off against Moose, just like another ECW original. But who knows? They might have a handicap match to help make it seem like Sandman can still do what he's doing. Maybe they'll throw Don Callis in there just because it'd be interesting just to see him get knocked around a little bit. Because on commentary, they're just talking about, all the ECW originals. And Don Callis is like, yeah, wait, what? Like, I'm not a part of this. I'm just an announcer. Sure you are, buddy. Sure you are. So after that, our next match, we have Su Yung and Jessica Havoc in a tag team match against Taya Valkyrie and Rosemary, all 4 competitors in the Monsters Ball at Slammiversary for the Knockouts Championship. Very interesting. Like, everyone's kind of figured out what they're doing going forward here. So Havoc attempted to sit on Taya, but she avoided it and got the tag on Rosemary. It was a lot of Taya just like, I am no part of this. I was not prepared for this kind of anarchy. Rosemary, you go at it. That's pretty much how this whole thing went. And you'd think that Su Yung and Havoc would have a lot more camaraderie being monsters and being under the employ of Father James Mitchell. No, they're bickering. They're just like, Havoc is really trying to assert her dominance over Su Yung. And so it's Sue's character, the undead bride thing, just it's kind of hard for her to just get really pissed off. It's really hard to convey that in this weekly setting that we have, especially when she doesn't talk. That's a very key thing. But you can tell that at some point, Su Yung is gonna take advantage or just beat the crap out of Havoc. I could see them turning on each other if one doesn't win at the Monsters Ball. I would love to see maybe if Su Yung won it, then maybe that would be the key thing that goes through there. There's so many ways they could go about this. I'm really not too sure who's going to win this. But focusing on the match, though, Rosemary dived through the ropes, but Havoc cut her off in mid-air. Again, establishing Havoc is just a brute force in the Knockouts division, has picked up right where she left off. Havoc swinged and miss at Rosemary with a steel chair. So this casually, like, there wasn't much to this. And, like, all of a sudden they just, without any fuss, without any fanfare, Havoc swung at Rosemary with a steel chair and then immediately called for the bell. And, like, both teams were on the outside, so it's very awkwardly timed. So whether the match ended in a double, they say the match ended in a double count out, but, like, the fact that Havoc tried to swing at Rosemary, I don't know. I'll go with double count out because it didn't connect. Like, maybe that's, we'll go with that. But that's pretty much, the match wasn't, that the chaos didn't finish with the match finishing. So Rosemary continued to brawl with Havoc, and Taya brawled with Sue. Sue locked in the mandible claw with a bloody glove on Taya, but Rosemary broke it up with a spear. Rosemary got out shades of what we could see maybe at Slammiversary. She got out hundreds of thumbtacks on the mat. Taya and Rosemary attempted to suplex Sue onto the tacks, but Havoc broke it up. They're teasing. No one went through the tacks, for those of you wondering. Sue goes to strike Rosemary, but she ducks, causing Sue to hit Havoc. Oh dear. Very bad move. And Su Yung and Havoc are about to come to blows. She's trying to lock in the mandible claw. Havoc is trying to lock in the choke slam. Yeah, but Father James Mitchell put the stop to it, saying, like, I need you two to work together. And commentary's just like, Father James Mitchell promoting peace. Like, I never thought I'd see the day. Neither did I, ladies and gentlemen. Neither did I. These four, of course, again, will clash with the Knockouts title on the line in Monsters Ball at Slammiversary. Cannot wait for what we have in store with Impact Wrestling.
Promotional consideration paid for by the following.
This month we are sponsored by Grapple, a fantastic new wrestling app available on iOS and Google Play completely for free, where you can rate all the matches that you watch in WWE, Impact Wrestling, New Japan Pro Wrestling, all across the world, and we are even getting Australian wrestling involved in the Grapple app rating system as well, starting with PWA Pro Wrestling Australia. Their Green Label event from the other week is up there. The Black Label event, All Eyes on Troy, is up there. And the last 2 years of events, at least, are up on Grapple right now for you to rate so that people can get around our Aussie wrestling and see that we are just as good as anywhere else in the world. Basically, Grapple is a Rotten Tomatoes for wrestling. Now we all get a say. It is the democratization of match rating systems for pro wrestling. It's amazing. So I get a say, you get a say. You can follow me on there at Greg Unchained. You can follow Big Boy Mikey at B+_Big Boy, at Mr. Mysterious is on there, at Danders is on there, at Jay is on there. We're all on there rating the matches that we watch. So follow us. We'll follow you back. Let's build this community and get as many Australian wrestling fans onto the Grapple app as we can. You can download it right now. It has over 30,000 matches on there going back to 1985, 15 promotions around the world. There's so much to do on the Grapple app. It's a great little community, so get around it. It's Grapple, GRAPPL.co, and it's for free on App Store and Google Play. Get around it. Hey everyone, just want to take a second to tell you about one of our new sponsors, OUTBREAK NUTRITION. OUTBREAK NUTRITION are creating supplements for survival, sharper minds, quicker reflexes, all the energy you need to take your performance to the next level, whether that be on the field, in the gym, on the gaming field. That's right, they have specifically designed gaming supplements as well to help you focus on those late night sessions. They even sell coffee, you guys, at OUTBREAK NUTRITION. You can get coffee pods, you can get coffee beans, you can get supplements for the bedroom as well if you want to enhance your performance there. These are performance enhancing supplements for every aspect of your life, specifically designed by gamers, for gamers, to stay fit and healthy in the gym, to stay sharp and focused on the game, and to dominate in all areas of life. So check out OutbreakNutrition.com, and for being a listener of our podcast, they will give you 10% off your order when you enter the code B+. That is BPLUS at checkout. So make sure, if you want to stay on top of your game, if you want to take your performance to the next level, OutbreakNutrition.com, enter the code B+ at checkout. Hey guys, just a reminder, if you want to hear all of these wonderful B+ podcast episodes completely ad-free, make sure you head over to Patreon or Podbean, where we are the featured podcast this week. You can subscribe for as little as $1 a month up to $10 a month, where anything you want to help us with, it really helps out. It's going to help us grow the site. It's going to help us redesign some things, and everything that we get through this and through the advertising as well is all going straight back into the podcast so that we can get Aussie Graps out there for the rest of the world to hear about, for the rest of the world to see, so we can grow this mission of watch global, support local, and build indie wrestling. So if you want to be a part of that and get some really cool rewards like call-in shows, bonus episodes, ad-free like I mentioned, then head over to patreon.com/theb+ and subscribe today.
Backstage, guys, we have Ace Austin talking to Melissa Santos, saying the only reason that he lost to TJ Perkins last week was because TJP made a surprise turn and he wasn't prepared. He was prepared for everyone currently on the roster for the X division, and TJP just came out of nowhere and just surprised him. He's just like, he wasn't ready, he didn't have his prep time. Like, how thoughtless of Impact management. Just like, he didn't have his prep time. Clearly he couldn't rehearse and get ready for this match. But TJP came out during this promo, and he's saying that I'm glad to be in Impact after being in a basement for 3 years. This guy knows what I'm talking about. No, you don't. Yes, the basement that they called 205 Live. An interesting basement, to be sure, that not enough people know about. I know about it, TJP. I know about it. But yeah, it's nice to see that he's out of WWE land and he can actually use his talents elsewhere. But yeah, TJP offers him a chance to redeem himself in a rematch next week. I feel like with such only like one more taping of Impact left before Slammiversary and the Impact Plus exclusive events, I feel like this one, I mentioned this last week, it should be Ace Austin, TJP, number one contendership for the X Division title. That would make sense. It would give a great high-flying match to Slammiversary. They desperately need a little bit more other non-title matches on the card. Like, we've got about 6 matches, I think, at the moment. So just a couple more like this one, and maybe the Deaners, because the Deaners, this was the very next segment. So the Deaners are at a bar, washing away the worries after losing their match against the North, and they're They're just like, think what Uncle Jeb would say and everything else. And out comes the Desi Hit Squad, just interrupts, makes fun of them for losing to the North. It was a pretty standard thing. Yeah, it wasn't. There wasn't much to it. I thought that it would end in a brawl because that's what we've had accustomed to for the past few months with the Lucha Brothers facing LAX. Like everything ended in fisticuffs, ended in backstage brawls where they were children. And so I'm surprised with the Dinas, with them being these like redneck stereotypes, that it didn't end in a brawl. Like they're just like the Dinas were just behind the bar. Desi Hit Squad laughed at them and then they walked off. They showed, dare I say, personality in this match, saying like, that's why you guys are ass and we're class, baby. The Desi Hit Squad, like, wow. A lot more than I thought I would come out of them. Maybe they'll be on the pre-show for Slammiversary. I can see that happening. We have a very interesting promo and one that cheered me up right away. Eddie Edwards is in a church trying to do a confession in front of a priest who, again, whoever they're getting to act these official roles, like doctors and priests, like big like backstage officials, yeah, you need to find better people. So this guy was not convincing as a priest at all. But nevertheless, that's not what I'm here to talk about. So Eddie Edwards is confessing to this quote-unquote priest about his violent actions against Killer Cross, saying, I've done bad things. My wife is probably going to leave. I pretty much lost my wife. I've lost my mind. I've got this voice in my head telling me that to do bad things, and I want to do bad things. He's like, I like it. I really like it. And he's saying like, I'm a sinner. And then a deep voice is in the background. We're all sinners in the eyes of the God, Mr. Edwards. And out comes Killer Cross. He's alive. He's alive. Killer Cross is still here. Oh, I was so happy to see him. I was so worried, ladies and gentlemen. I was so worried. Like, even if what happened last week was a prelude to things to come, maybe we might not see him after Slammiversary. Maybe that's the through line. Like, his contract finished during those tapings, but he's staying on just a little bit longer to do Slammiversary, because it's been announced, ladies and gentlemen, that Eddie Edwards will face Killer Cross in a first blood match at Slammiversary. Very much looking forward to that. Very curious, because both these guys are insane with how they can get into the violence and everything else. I'm not quite sure who will come out on top. Like, depending on if Killer Cross is indeed leaving Impact Wrestling at some point, maybe Eddie Edwards picks up the win. And yeah, I'm liking the idea that whatever happens, the psychological toll that Killer Cross has put on Eddie Edwards is going to remain. So he's going to be a much, hopefully, darker character going forward. Like, he could just... and Killer Cross is even saying, like, why are you afraid of doing bad things? Are you afraid of losing yourself or finding yourself? And they don't want to... Eddie Edwards doesn't want to fight in a church. And, like, here's the thing. So, last week, Eddie Edwards, like, he was biting the face of Killer Cross. No injuries. Nothing around his perfectly chiseled jawline. Like, nothing. And I was thinking, like, is this like a spiritual thing? Like, I was half thinking that Killer Cross had been killed and his spirit was haunting Eddie Edwards. Because we've got the Undead Realm dynamic. I was half thinking that was going to happen. It seemed like it was primed to be doing that. So Eddie Edwards, says his piece, saying, like, the moment you leave this church, I'm going to go after you. Like, and he's saying, you might have to wait a while. I like it in here. I'm going to get comfortable. And he's doing his maniacal laughter. And I half expected him to, like, disappear or, like, disapparate like a ghost in Supernatural. Something like that. But no, like, the priest comes back just cause. He puts his hand on Killer Cross's shoulder and says, are you here to repent for your sins? And he's like, I repent for my sins every day, priest. What do you mean by that? how much time do you got? And yeah, that priest is gonna get a very big acting lesson from Killer Cross, or if nothing else, he's gonna be feeling a couple of things in the morning. But yeah, it's very confusing promo, like with some things not quite making sense. But I don't care. I don't care because Killer Cross is still an Impact for now. Very happy about that. He was the through line. He was the thing that was keeping me going during the dark times because Impact Wrestling is still evolving. It's still in the rebuilding phase, as a lot of their superstars would attest to. But that's fine because I like uh, finding my love for Impact Wrestling, regaining it over this past few weeks, few months, alongside Impact Wrestling. So it's a nice symbiotic relationship I've got going here, if not abusive sometimes when they mess with my feelings. Next promo we have is Johnny Bravo bragging to the officials and other non wrestling staff backstage about his relationship with Johnny Impact, saying like, "No, I'm no lackey, man. We're tight. He completes me." And he's got the stupid vest, like the stupid Johnny Impact gear on, and just like he's a number one fan. It's clearly a equal partnership that you've got going on here, Bravo. But yeah, even the referees are just like they can't help themselves. And Johnny Bravo is like, "Oh yeah, well if Rich One was here right now, I'd kick his ass again with that X." And just like Rich One happens to be showing up, like, "Oh, put your money where your mouth is," and he's just yeah, like, "Oh wait, I didn't mean it, I didn't mean it." Of course, he doesn't have his X there, otherwise he would have done what he said. Clearly, Johnny Bravo, like back up your words, man. This leads to a brawl. Johnny Impact rushes in. Then we see Willie Mack come in to help save Swan. Swan is about to teach him a lesson, but yeah, Swan proposes a tag team match. Him and Willie Max against Johnny Impact and Johnny Bravo. And Impact declines, saying, "You think we're stupid enough to accept that?" And Bravo's like, "Deal!" Impact's like, "What?" And it's like, "We'll see you next week, you assholes." It's like, dear. So next week, and the final Impact Before Slammiversary, we'll see a tag team match. Johnny Bravo, Johnny Impact, Willie Mack, and Rich Swann. Yeah, I'm very curious to see how much Johnny Bravo can actually contribute as a wrestler. Like, it's like the kind of thing when you kind of want to see a car crash happen before your eyes, but you can't turn away. I don't know. We'll see what happens there. Next match is we're back to matches now. Sami Callihan with Madman Fulton versus Fala Bar and Scarlet, featuring Scarlet Bordeaux. Bar in the Bay going up against OVE. Not as thrilling, I'm sad to say, as their match a couple weeks ago, where Sami Callihan and Fala Bar, like Sami really pushed Fala's buttons a few weeks ago, and like it was amazing to watch. These guys had like half the time, not enough opportunity to do much, because I think they had a couple more matches in store for us. But yeah, Fulton tripped up Fala during the starting few minutes, which caused the referee to eject him from ringside. And I love the dynamic that Madman has with Sami Callihan, because he doesn't listen to the referee. It's like Sami understands he listens to the referee, and then he slaps Madman and he tells him to leave. So that he doesn't listen to anyone else but Sami. Through pain and anguish, he reluctantly agrees. Madman has been ejected. And then what we have is a quick Cliff Notes version of their match a couple weeks ago. So Fala hit a big running splash in the corner. He did a big Samoan drop. Like, he didn't get a chance to do much. He didn't get a chance to really ground and pound Sami Callihan. He was managing to evade him a lot of the time. Callihan was being completely gross. Now he's using his snot along with his like spit. That dude is I love him when he's being a face, and he's just like, he's a charming psychopath. He's a charming psychopath, but when he's a healer, he's just I'm not a fan of the bodily fluids. It just grosses me out. I start dry reaching. Callahan, you're a sick bastard, but you know what? You're the master of your craft, if that means anything. If that craft is bodily fluids, and I'm not sure many people will want to emulate that. But nevertheless, so after that, Callahan hit a cactus special pile driver because Father Bar is a big boy. He needed the help. No trickery, even with that madman in the corner. Like, I thought it would be a lot more even match. I thought Scarlett would help out a little bit more, but no, because especially since Scarlett is no longer a part of Impact Wrestling. Yeah, this might be the last time we see Scarlett Bordeaux on the tapings. Whether we might see her next week, I don't know. It's weird. Like, just a lot of the stars in Impact Wrestling, they don't end with a bang but a whimper. It's kind of hard to explain. Maybe even though she's fulfilled her obligations with the Impact Wrestling, maybe she'll appear at Slammiversary. I highly doubt it. Just to give Fala a little bit of a story to explain like why his friend Scarlett is no longer with him. Maybe they'll bring back KM. Maybe they'll bring back KM to help out Fala. They'll be tag team again. I don't know. They'll figure it out. Nevertheless, Sami Callihan, quite convincing fashion, puts away Fala Bar. A little bit disheartened. Wanted to see more anger come out of my young apprentice. He needs to embrace the dark side more, damn it. But yeah, he'll find himself eventually. After the match, Callahan called out his opponent at Slammiversary, Tessa Blanchard. And you thought Glenn Gilberti was detestable as an intergender wrestler, bad-mouthing the Knockouts division. Oh, Sammy has got this on lockdown. He calls out Tessa. She is pissed off at him. And yeah, it's the same thing that Glenn Gilberti was saying, but like, Sami Callihan actually can make it seem believable, and detestable is like I'm the only real. Do you know why they call me the Draw? Because I'm the best male performer, and I'm sick and tired of these knockouts. It's nothing we haven't heard before with intergender storylines, but you know what? Like the fact that Sammy is such a detestable heel by himself, and then you add OVE on top of that. Yeah, he's got that story. He's got it all sorted. I have complete faith in him with this match. This is a true intergender wrestling match. I'm very much looking forward to what's happening. He's saying, like, you want me to treat you like an equal? I'll treat you like an equal. He boots her in the face, and he turns his back on her, saying, like, this is what happens when a woman faces a man. Thumbs up, thumbs down, goes to turn around. Tessa starts beating the crap out of him, which brings out the Chris brothers to even the odds. And then Callahan attacks her with his baseball bat. And then, for good measure, he's going to do the pile driver, and she just spits in his face, like, defiant to the end. And that's exactly how Tessa should be. Loved it. Absolutely loved it. I cannot wait to see what happens. And it's been announced at Bash of the Brewery for the 5th of July. We're going to see OVE, Sami Callihan, and the Chris brothers against Tessa Blanchard, Willie Mack, and Rich Swann. Very great, interesting dynamic there. It's not Tommy Dreamer. But we've got Tessa Blanchard in there, and it makes sense. And I can't wait to see what will happen. A lot of high flying, probably a lot of suicide dives. I'm calling it right now. A lot of suicide dives. I'm sorry, Greg. A lot of suicide dives. He's not a fan of them, ladies and gentlemen, as he edits these. But what can you do? It's Impact Wrestling. Our next final match for this taping, the tag team champions LAX, with the Laredo Kid and of course Conan at ringside, go up against all three members of the Rascals, Dez, Wentz, and Trey. 6-man tag team match. Great to see Laredo Kid back in Impact Wrestling, especially after Fyter Fest. Go check out Fyter Fest and our review of Fyter Fest on our Facebook page and our website. Really great instant reaction that we got there from Greg Unchained. Yeah, can't recommend it enough. Laredo Kid jumped over everybody and hit a crossbody to jumpstart the match like we were in full swing. with this one. Like they got a little like just over 10 minutes to really showcase what they could do. Like this was really Laredo Kid's time to shine because he added just that extra bit of dynamic to this match. So he flied again with the moonsault over the top rope to the floor. Wentz hit a double foot stomp on Ortiz, then dived to the outside to gain momentum for the Rascals. Yeah, flippy shit to the extreme. All these guys, masters of their craft. You had Ortiz connect with the Hurricane on Wentz, causing him to spear his own partner. A little bit of miscommunication there. Dez hit Ortiz with the big cutter. Trey takes out Laredo Kid with the Matrix. Like, all these guys, it's just the timing. They were so fluid. It was amazing. I wished we ended on this personally, but we had another segment to finish the show. You had LAX stack the Rascals on top of each other. Then Laredo Kid once again. Huge 450 splash off the top rope onto all three members of the Rascals for a near fall. Yeah, Trey jumped off the top rope and got Ortiz in a pinning predicament to score the upset victory. He did his big meteor in all the confusion and all the look on his face, like just that they're working hard. They're just finally getting the victories. They're kind of like after being told that you can't do this, right? There was a lot of storytelling behind Trey's face there. I really love that. And if this happens at Summerversary, we could be having new tag team champions. Come on, Rascals, I believe in you. I believe. We have a couple more segments here. Backstage, Madison Rayne talking to Melissa Santos, saying that she's defeated Jordan Grace twice now. What will happen is she beats her. I'm not making this shit up. They seem to have the same promo for Madison Rayne each and every bastard time. She's defeated a superstar twice. Can she make it a third time? Like Queen Bee, like it's the same bloody promo. I don't know what they're doing with her. But yeah, so you think it's going to focus on Jordan Grace once again for next week, but nope. So then Kira Hogan comes out and talks about how Jordan Grace doesn't deserve anything, especially she was a horrible friend to me, right? And Kira's saying that everyone thinks that the Knockouts all love each other and stuff, but we're all just self-obsessed bitches out for each other, like out for ourselves, you know? And yeah, and she's encouraging Madison to find her dark side just like Kira did. And Madison tells Kira that her rematch with Grace can wait because she's going to show Kira just how dark she can get. So it's not Jordan Grace, it's not Tessa, it's not Taya. It's like, good Madison, fight someone you haven't fought before yet. Face off against Kira Hogan. I approve of this. Keep it going. And like maybe she'll face her a couple of times and you'll see her backstage like, I've beaten Kira Hogan twice now. It's like, Madison. Next promo. We're back in the treehouse. They've got some nice cushions backstage now, so the treehouse has been done up a little bit more. Maybe they just used some more of the money that Moose gave them after that weird little storyline. The Rascals figure out a way to determine which two members will challenge LAX for the tag team titles, because usually it's Des and Wentz that have been the tag team, and Trey has been the guy at ringside just encouraging people. And if he was in that match a couple weeks ago, they would be tag team champions right now. But yeah, they're going to have a triple threat match at the last taping of Impact Wrestling, and they're going to, whoever gets pinned will not compete at the pay-per-view. And I feel like they're going to throw in Trey in there just because how insistent he is, like to insert himself in spite of everyone. Like if they don't have Trey in there, I'm worried that he can cost them the match again. Unless they do they let him do a handicap match, but I don't think they'll do that personally. So yeah, you can look forward to that next week, ladies and gentlemen. Dez versus Wentz versus Trey. Loser not wrestling at Summerversary. We'll see what happens then. And we ended with The Machine is back. Brian Cage makes his way to the ring, and he's determined to compete at Slammiversary, despite what the actor called Dr. Ariel says. Cage says he will see Elgin at the pay-per-view July 7th when Dr. Ariel confronts him in the middle of the ring. And remember how I said he can't act or he can't emote? Cage picks up Dr. Ariel, takes him out with an F5. Now, your reaction when you get hoisted into the air by a big bodybuilder specimen of the machine Brian Cage, you'd be generally terrified or upset or just like what is going on? No, no, no! This doctor is just like, oh, I'm being picked up. Unhand me at once, sir. Like, I'm not going to show my anger. Unhand me at once. And just like, he just allows him to do it. He allows him to be subject to an F5. Yeah, very piss poor acting on the part of Dr. Ariel. Please, can we just... I don't want to see him again next week. We probably will, to be honest, but just get better. Impact Wrestling. Food for thought next time. Actually get people who can act. Call me crazy. So, after that, ladies and gentlemen, Michael Elgin attacks Cage from behind, hits him with a sit-down, buckle bomb and a power bomb. Somehow, Cage is still stirring. Somehow, because he's the goddamn machine. Causing Elgin to powerbomb him again. But this time, he sets up a table. And just like, I'm surprised at the strength of Michael Elgin to be able to lift Brian Cage. And without much assistance from Brian Cage. It's full on dead weight. The dude is he might be smaller and not have as big of a frame as Brian Cage. But you know what? He's the unbreakable. It's very, very interesting. And I'm very much looking forward to their dynamic as Slammiversary in Machine versus Unbreakable for Slammiversary. I can't wait to see what happens there. So yeah, Elgin attacks Cage from behind, and yeah, again, another powerbomb, this time through the table, on the floor. They are completely behind Brian Cage after his back injury. Clearly he's been cleared to compete, and they're just showing you just how durable the machine is and why he is called the goddamn machine. So after this, Elgin gets in Josh Matthews' face at the announce desk. Don Callis comes to his defense, but Elgin takes him out with a punch. Oh, that was so satisfying. I know I should hate Michael Elgin right now, but after the bullshit, Don Callis can be so cocky on commentary. It was just nice to see him get struck, even just once. And it looked like Elgin was about to powerbomb Don Callis. But while you had officials and medical staff trying to put Brian Cage onto a stretcher, and Elgin is trying to powerbomb Don Callis out of frustration when Cage miraculously gets up. I love the visual. They had put on the neck brace. They put on the neck brace, and he's slowly rising from the dead, takes off the neck brace, gets back into the ring. The brawl keeps going, and that was the end of Impact Wrestling for this week. I'm really happy. There wasn't any segments in this that really felt out of place to me. Yes, a couple of them could have been acted a lot better, but it feels like everyone knows their roles going into Slammiversary, and I can't wait to see what happens. I'll go through a couple of the Impact news stories throughout this week. So, for those of you who don't know, Impact Wrestling and Pursuit Channel have had a very unhealthy relationship these past few weeks. Of course, with them not airing the main event last month, not airing the right episode a couple weeks ago, and the issues have only gone on from there. So, not only has that happened, but Pursuit Channel have since dropped Impact from their AT&T universe, and DirecTV has dropped from their HD lineup. So what does that mean? You cannot watch Impact Wrestling in high definition anymore. This is the worst TV deal they've ever had. and that's saying something. They've had some stinkers, and you've heard people like Conan saying like, yeah, our next TV deal is going to be a lot better. Like, well, it bloody well should be, because Impact Wrestling is getting so much better. Like, it doesn't upset me like WWE does. It does not. It's its own thing, and more people need to watch it to actually see. Like, it's getting away from the shadows of TNA, from Dixie Carter, from GFW. It's getting away from that. They're in the rebuilding phase, and you hear all the time about backstage morale in like WWE. Like, you had an interview with Ethan Page about the backstage morale in Impact Wrestling, and he's saying like, "Yeah, I'm loving it. Like, the locker room is the best it's been in a very long time. The morale in the locker room is a lot better than it's portrayed online. People are excited to show up to work. That's a key thing. The superstars in Impact Wrestling, like, I hear that some of them don't even get paid. Like some of them lose money sometimes wrestling for Impact Wrestling, but they still do it because they want to work there. They love working for Impact." And that's very telling of what, like, the dedication that they all have, especially Ethan Page. Like, he may be all ego, ladies and gentlemen, but he has a gentle soul about him outside the ring. And yeah, Ethan Page, like, he doesn't want to talk shit about Pursuit because they're still affiliated. But yeah, he's saying if there's any issues with Pursuit, just throw the Twitch app up on your smart TV. Just go to twitch.tv/Impact Wrestling. It's on the exact same time. Also, Impact Plus, hint, hint, guys, free for the first month. Go check it out. You'll get through all of this mess, make your life so much easier. And like, especially if you go on Twitch, Melissa Santos apparently chats with you guys. You should go check it out. But yeah, Ethan Page acknowledged that there's a lot of companies that are going through building phases. There's ebbs and flows, but it happens to everybody, and they're excited for what happens next when they hopefully get a better TV deal than what's happening. So there's a couple of sad news stories there with Impact Wrestling, but we're on the positives, guys. We're on the positives. If nothing else, everyone is in a good mood going forward to Slammiversary, and I'm very much looking forward to that. We'll have next week for the final episode. So as I mentioned before, TJP, Ace Austin, you'll see the Rascals triple threat. We're going to see Laredo Kid face off against Rahit Raju. You're going to have the tag team match. You're going to have Madison Rain versus Kira Hogan. Yeah, a lot of elements at play, and that's where we're going to leave things right now, ladies and gentlemen. If you want to follow me, I am at Mysterious with 1-7i on all the socials: Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, and Grapple. If you want to follow all of us here on the B Plus on our journey, rating matches from across the world, because we don't need the melters of the world to tell us what it is or isn't good. We can determine that for ourselves. If you want to follow us here collectively here at the B Plus, because we're an alright bunch, I like to think so, we are at the B Plus Wrestle on Twitter because wrestling wouldn't fit, and the B Plus Wrestling everywhere else. Remember, everybody, we have our Patreon. Any amount you could donate would be greatly appreciated, so we can keep giving you guys what you want, when you want, showcasing the very best of Australian wrestling, and continue to keep you guys up to date on all the wacky, weird professional wrestling news going across the globe. Like, share, subscribe, hit that 5-star review. I've been Mr. Mysterious, this has been the Impact Zone, and I'll see you later.